the President is here, he'll be able to respond to as many of those issues as possible. The final thing is to state that with us in the President's delegation, we also have the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who is Kenya's candidate for the African Union chairman leadership. So, as we speak, we also want you to own him from the German soil in this particular context. So, without really wasting any more time, you could draw yourself on issues of the economy, the political situation in the country, the issues that you also have here. Please bring it up so that the President can quickly handle those. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PCS. Good morning, everybody. Guten Morgen. I would have continued in German, but I know there are too many people here who don't understand it. But let me first say I'm very happy to be in Berlin this morning because of a program and a project that is very dear to me, a program about finding opportunities for Kenyans abroad. Just in context, from diaspora, we raise close to $4.5 billion every year. And the hardworking people of Kenya around the world are doing us proud and keeping the flag of our country flying high wherever they are. Our Kenyan human capital, and I speak about it very proudly and very often, is the best resource we have. It is our gold, it's our oil, it is the asset that we have as a country, our Kenyan human capital. It is the reason why I have gone out of my way to make sure that we sharpen that human capital. It is the reason why we have hired 56,000 teachers in the last 2 years, the highest in the history of Kenya, because we want to give every Kenyan child a chance to get education, because the best way to sharpen and to make good our human capital is to make sure that they get the correct knowledge, they get the correct education, they get the opportunity for training, and they get an opportunity to acquire knowledge and skills. It is the reason we have expanded money going to our TVETs and money going to our universities. It is the reason why we are having a very big conversation in Kenya on higher education funding, university funding, because I consider the opportunity for Kenyans to get education, knowledge, and training a very important opportunity. And because knowledge and training and education is important to us, I said earlier this morning that we spend about $5 billion every year in the education of our citizens. It is the reason why we increased by about 120 billion shillings, almost $900 million, our education budget. And because we are developing our human capital, and I'm saying this in the context of why I came for this Citizens Festival against the background of us signing the comprehensive immigration and mobility, labor mobility partnership agreement. It is because we must keep our focus on using the best asset that we have, our human capital, to drive our progress and to drive our economy. It is the reason why among the things that are important to us as a nation today is how do we create opportunities for the millions of young people who come out of college, who come out of school, who come out of our universities to get jobs. And I will give you 5 interventions that we are working with. Amongst them, the one we're going to have a conversation about here. It is the reason why we have, for example, starting with our housing program. Our housing program today creates 160,000 jobs. 160,000 Kenyans who are not working 2 years ago, they are working today in our housing plan. Real people. I went to inspect the housing program, I think it was on Monday, in Kibra. And it's amazing the number of people, the number of young people. And when I talked to some of them, they were telling me that because we've worked here for a year, we want the recognition of prior learning. We've acquired skills here. How do we get papers so that when we move to the next project, we are not being hired as casuals, we are being hired as skilled labor because we have acquired skills. It is the reason why we are working with UNIDO and others, working on our county aggregation industrial parks. It is the reason why we have new 5 special economic zones and export processing zones that will tap into creating opportunities for employment, for export of textiles, of agro-processed goods, and we are looking at opportunities on how to expand jobs in that space. It is the reason why, number 3, under our digital superhighway program, we are expanding our digital hubs. Majority of our TVETs today have a digital hub. We have close to 140,000 young people in our TVETs today who are working online. I was very, very impressed when I went to one of our TVETs, and I was telling the German Chancellor yesterday, when I went to one of our TVETs, and I found a young man there called Brian, and he said, Mr. President, I am working for an AI company in Germany. And this is Brian, who has not even been to Nairobi. He even doesn't have a passport. But he's working for an AI company, and we are yet even to pass AI regulations in our parliament. But he's already way ahead, you know? He's already way ahead. The conversation we were having this week was how we are going to work with Parliament so that we can begin to find a regulatory framework for artificial intelligence, because we have so much benefit coming out of artificial intelligence, how we can leverage on it to make sure that we have all that we need. But also it comes with fake news, misinformation, disinformation. How do we manage that? Because it undermines, you know, the benefits of technology. And number 4 is export of labor. We have re-engineered the National Employment Authority. Earlier this morning, we had the CEO, the grand lady there whom I recently gave the job to work as the CEO of our National Employment Authority. And they are doing now a wonderful job. It was a moribund organization. It was an almost dead organization. We have put in new energy into the organization, and they are helping us reorganize that whole space around labor migration, making sure that we are organized. I know in our midst, you can sit down, I know in our midst here we have agencies that deal with export of labor. We've had a serious problem with corruption and confusion in that space, and we've had to exit, I think, close to 500 companies, agencies that were doing the wrong things. And we will continue to weed out the crooks and the people who are less than straight, who are taking advantage of jobless people in Kenya, so that we align it with what we think as a country we can get from the international labor market. And to make sure that that space is organized, apart from organizing ourselves and the institutions in Kenya, Mr. Mushangi there, who is the chairman of the Labor Committee in Parliament, now has the labor migration bill that we are working on to provide again another, legal and institutional capacity for us to manage matters labor properly. We are also establishing the Diaspora Placement Agency under her State Department, again, to make that whole exercise seamless. And it is the reason why when the President of Germany came to Kenya last year, and I had a conversation with him, and in having a one-on-one with him, he told me, Mr. President, we have a labor crisis in Germany. We need close to between 250 and 300,000 people, skilled laborers, semi-skilled laborers, semi-skilled labor in Germany. And it's because of that conversation that we started this endeavor. I called the ministry, I detailed Rosalind here, and we've gone through the motions back and forth. How many you've come to Germany, how many times? So many. Yes? Yeah. So there's been a back and forth between our teams, and yesterday became the climax when we could actually sign off this comprehensive migration and labor mobility partnership that will provide, and this is just for Germany. We are negotiating for another maybe almost 19 countries on how we want to make sure that there's a formal way that Kenyans can work, so that we can also protect Kenyans who come and work here. There must be a framework where we make sure that nobody takes advantage of them. They are paid what is due to them. They are treated in the manner in which they should be, because in the absence of an agreement, it becomes difficult to enforce. So that agreement will give us the opportunity to enforce the requirements of the law in this country, as we also jointly do it in Kenya It will also give us the opportunity to make sure that there are no abuses of Kenyans and nobody takes advantage of our country. And as I said earlier, it is my belief that as we train, as we give exposure to more Kenyans to work in manufacturing entities here, in factories here, in different sectors here. I remember yesterday in the press conference, I told Chancellor Scholz that we are giving you our labor now, but in a few years, I am sure that your industries will be moving to Kenya. And I am asking those people who have an opportunity to work in these manufacturing entities and all the other sectors to have in focus that the skills you are acquiring, the experience you are getting will one day be necessary for us to use them, as these factories will eventually, because they will. Eventually, these factories, it will not make business sense for them to be here. It will make business sense for them to be in Kenya. Because, so we are providing the connection that will finally get us moving. We will be having a conversation with the manufacturing entities later this year. We have the Business Summit, German-Africa Business Summit in Nairobi in December, where again we will be discussing collaboration between the business entities in Germany and the business entities in Kenya, connecting the chambers of commerce between our two countries. I know we have the representative of the Chamber of Commerce right in our midst here, and looking at what opportunities we can explore together. So it is in this context that I am today in this great city of Berlin. Of course, aside from the fact that I also got an opportunity after President Steinmeier put a call to me early this year. I remember it was in the afternoon. And he asked me, Mr. President, we want Kenya to be the first country outside Europe to be the profile country in our Citizens Festival. It was a great recognition for our country. And I said, okay, it's an opportunity for us to come and showcase Kenya, showcase our talent, showcase our culture, showcase our music, showcase our creative economy. And I'm very happy with the collaboration and what I saw yesterday. It is a moment for us to celebrate as a country. It is one thing I'm very proud of, that we have managed to build a very positive profile globally for Kenya. And today, many people in the world see Kenya from a different point of view. So to you guys who are in Germany, you are our best ambassadors. They say East-West, home is best. And when actually the question came in the press conference yesterday, and there was this perception that, oh, maybe the Kenyans who will come to Germany, they will refuse to go back to Kenya. I told them we have a very beautiful country. We have a very beautiful country. And we are very proud of our home. And so nobody should mistake the fact that we are sharing our talent with the rest of the world nobody should have any mistake that we have a home, and we are very proud of our country. So we will do what we have to do, not just in Germany, but in all the other places in the world. But we know that finally we have a home to go back to. So otherwise, let me stop there. I do not want to monopolize this meeting. Let me stop there and to say I'm very happy to be here. My apologies that yesterday we were not able to make it to the meeting because I think there was a scheduling problem. We arrived here, I think 3 hours late, and therefore we had to push back some of the items because I was on the schedule of the leadership of this country. But I did tell Ambassador here that we must find a way of remedying the thing we didn't manage to do yesterday. I remember I met some gentleman at the festival and he asked me, so Mr. President, what's going to happen tomorrow? Can we schedule the meeting? I remember that. I've seen that guy somewhere here. Oh yeah, here. Yeah, so I told him I'm looking forward and we will reschedule it for tomorrow. And I'm very happy that we are having this meeting. And thank you very much for your understanding. Asante sana. So I'm told some good people here have a few, maybe they want me to respond to 1 or 2 issues. Maybe we start the gentleman there. Or maybe before I do that, just out of respect, maybe I can ask former Prime Minister who is a beneficiary of education in this country to just make some few comments.
This is an ambush. Oh, guten Morgen. Wie geht's euch? Good. Thank you very much. You know, I live in this country as a young person. I studied here, therefore I understand German culture and city very well. I know Witze, Deutsche Witze. So, but I'm coming here basically because you know that I'm running for the chairmanship of African Union. And that's why our trip here has coincided. But then I was also very happy to have the opportunity to see so many young people here living in Deutschland. And I know the kind of challenges that people face in living here. See, when I arrived here, I was a very young boy, and it was in winter. And when we arrived, I saw the trees. I thought all these trees are dry, because there are no leaves. I just thought that all these trees are just dead. Until spring came. But that was one of the coldest winter. For the last 50 years, there has never been a winter like that one. And it lasted until May, so that institutions ran out of coal. Those were using coal at that time. They're not coming with the steam heating and now electric. So a number of institutions were closed because of that. And we would actually go and get coal, we packed and we take it in the oven, we light the oven so that we get the room to be a bit warm and happy. Then we made so many German friends the time I was living here. And then I went back. And then, but at that time, you know, Germany was divided, east and west. And but the good thing is that if you are Kenyan, you had no problem, because you did not need a visa to go to West Germany. You did not need a visa to go to Britain. But you needed a visa to transit. Like when I was going to Britain from Germany, I had to get a Dutch transit visa and a Belgian transit visa. Because if you did not have it, at the border they would remove you from the train and put you back to another train going back to where you came from. These days, you just need a Schengen visa, and you can travel across the whole of Europe. You see? This is what I'm saying. And this is a problem that we have in Africa. Because in Africa we still have a lot of problems. Aliko Dangote was saying that for him to travel across Africa, he needs 35 visas. But his French competitor does not need a visa to travel across Africa, because he's got a French passport. But with a Nigerian passport, you need a visa to travel to any African country. A shame. It's a big shame. So, but let me now get back to Kenya. In Kenya, we have what you call a demographic dividend. Because we have a large percentage of our population which are young. Number 70% of our population are below the age of 35. So we have got a youth dividend. But this thing here, it can be either a blessing or a curse. The youth can be either a blessing or a curse. If you don't empower them through opportunities for education to acquire skills, they become basically failures. They become delinquents, drug addicts, criminals. So they're basically a burden on society. But if you impart skills on these youths, so that they are able to do work here and there, then they become a motive force for development. That's why we all the time laid a lot of emphasis on education, from ECD through primary to secondary to university education. So you're here, and you're here and you're working because you got the education opportunity to learn. But see, what you have in Africa again is lack of opportunities. Lack of opportunities to employ these youth. I mentioned the other day that it's a shame that currently you find African children drowning in the Mediterranean, trying to reach Europe. To them it's a greener pastures. They're escaping poverty. They're escaping lack of employment back on the continent of Africa. It's a shame. We need to create an enabling environment for these youth to be able to get employment in Africa. But that does not mean that it must only work for companies in Africa. That's why the reason why I'm very happy that we are talking about people living in Kenya and working for companies in Germany. And this agreement that has just been signed here between us, that Kenyans can work for German corporations when they're living there in Kenya. Okay? And then, so, in other words, instead of these people exporting labor to Africa, we're the ones who are now exporting labor where? Here. Because you see, whereas we have a youth dividends, these people have got a youth deficit here. It's an aging society. It's an aging society. You have a situation where you've got an inverted pyramid. The base is up. The down here is now smaller. You've got a smaller population carrying the bigger population. The pensioners are more than the working population. Here, this because kwa nini hawataki kuzaa? Hawajui kuzaa siku hizi. Wengine wanaume wanaingiana na wanaume wenzao. Na kina mama vile vile hawataki. Wanakaa na wanaume peke yao. Sijapinga hii mambo hii ya ushoga, lakini sijaunga mkono vile vile. So now, what I'm saying is that there are opportunities for our people. And that's why I'm so happy that the government has signed an agreement here with the government of Germany, so that our people who are living here can live and work here properly without exploitation. This is very, very important, because this is an agreement that is signed between this government and many other governments in Europe. In fact, EU has got regulations about mobility of labor and how this, those people migrating from one country to another country are to be treated. So this is what we want also to happen to our people, our Kenyan people, so that Kenyans who live out here feel protected and they cannot be exploited by anybody. So I'm going to the AU if I'm like to be employed, to go and work for Africa, to ensure that we can be able to create an environment for Africa to grow. First, we want to promote inter-African trade, because Africans are spending too much time looking for a market for their goods, and they're being sometimes offered very unequal terms. But yet there's a market in Africa that they can use to market those goods. Second, we don't want Africa to remain just a supplier of raw materials for the industrial West. We want to have value addition taking place within Africa itself, so that we can create employment for our people in Africa. Africa is the richest continent in the planet Earth. In terms of raw materials, all the industrial raw materials that are being used in these countries, most of them come from Africa. Africa was the origin of iron and steel manufacturing. The first mankind to use iron tools was in Africa. Africa made iron before the Europeans. When the Europeans were still in the Stone Age, Africans were already using iron at that time. So Africa can actually claim its position on the planet Earth. It's a paradox that the richest in resources is the poorest in terms of living conditions of these people. So we must change this. So inter-African trade. And the other one is the issue of climate change. Climate change is a major challenge. You can see how the Africans living now between drought and floods. That's how we live now in Kenya. Mafuriko, pande nyingine, ukame, na njaa yote inakuja na hiyo yao yote. Lakini Africa itself is not the offender. The offense is coming from here. You guys are fortunate to have come here when now they're cleaning the environment a little. When I used to live here in Europe, in Germany, if you wash your clothes and hang it there in the window, it's a white cloth, tomorrow it will be brown. Because the air was all polluted with industrial waste. So this place, they are all burning, coal and diesel and so on and so forth. So the people who have actually polluted the environment are here. But Africa is a victim. And Africa therefore needs to get proper compensation for what it's doing. Because we also have one of the biggest carbon sinks in the world that helps remove carbon from the environment. That is another issue that we want to deal with when we go there. The issues of health, the issues of security, the issues of education, and so on and so forth. So this is why I say that let me take leave from Kenyan politics ili nifanye siasa huko Afrika. Niende nisiende? Niende nisiende? Okay. Now let me finish by, when I was down here, we used to, as students, we used to meet. Sometimes we used to go along and celebrate and so on and so forth. Okay? And sometimes we used to sing. Okay? Shall I sing? Yes. The Germans, when they went to Hawaii, is very far. And they went there, they found that Hawaii was too hot. And too hot. The Germans liked their beer. Is that not true? Then when they went there, they found there was no beer in Hawaii. So they said, no, I will never go back to Hawaii. This is too hot. Okay? So it goes like this. Es gibt kein Bier auf Hawaii, es gibt kein Bier. Du fahre ich nicht nach Hawaii, du bleibe ich hier. Es ist so heiß auf Hawaii, kein cooler Fleck. In Hula, 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 gibt's es nicht. Dann, wenn es so weitergeht, bis morgen früh, sind wir in Alkohol bis an die Knie. Wir machen durch bis morgen früh und singen Pum, Swalala, Pum, Swalala, Pum, Swalala, Pum, Swalala.
Danke schön, Baba. Danke. Your Excellency, if you permit me 1 minute. Thank you very much for squeezing time out of your busy schedule to meet our diaspora family. As your diplomats here in the diaspora, when we come, we are part of this family. Yesterday they came from all over Germany to listen to you. And I'm happy that this could happen today. They are here from Bonn, Stuttgart, Mainz, Frankfurt, Bremen, all the cities, Bayern, they are from all over Germany. Thank you very much, Cologne. And we are very happy that we could have this moment. And they are also from various professions making a contribution to the German economy and to the Kenyan economy. So thank you very much, and let's continue in this spirit. We work with them together. They received me very well. Na tuko pamoja. So now, I would like to tell you that His Excellency the President has a short time. He has other engagements, but we will have an opportunity just to ask a few questions. And I had already given this mic to, okay.
Thank you very much, my friend. You have the floor. Good morning, everybody. Mr. President, Honorable Raila, Mudavadi, and everyone in the House, good morning once more. My name is Ismail Mengistu Pinto. I'm living in Germany for 14 years and working at the moment with the Mercedes-Benz in Spandau. And I have a few questions that affects me also directly and other Kenyans. My first question is, I was here yesterday, and today morning I had a phone call with over 6 persons, and most of them had a misunderstanding why you are here, and most of them are saying that you signed that some of them to be deported home. Now I'm here to ask you to address them and tell them that your intention here was positive and not to take anybody home, so that they don't have the misconcept. And number two goes to the diasporas here. We tend to be sending a lot of money at home, and I think I send at least 2,000 every month, at 1,500 something. There's a time we fly home and we are told that the things or the goods, the gadgets we carry for our families cannot be allowed to give our families in there. And most of us were frustrated at the airport, and some of our belongings were left in the airport and we never had them. I think it affects our livelihood in one way or the other. My last question, I'm a businessman, also in Kenya, and it wasn't easy to do business in Kenya because there are some parts of the government that comes to the shops and collects some money and find different problems which are not worth being the workers to be taken for to the cell. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just do this so that maybe by answering some of his questions, I could answer some of the others. But let me just answer him, and then I take the next question. The negotiation of this agreement is a negotiation between the government of Germany and the government of Kenya. It is an agreement that is open. You can read the agreement. You don't have to wait for anybody to tell you this agreement is about sending anybody to Kenya. Just read the agreement. You are lucky you understand German. It is both in German and in English. You know, so you just need to know to read the agreement because it provides for us. Because today I was meeting the recruiting agencies in the morning. They've been having very serious problems of accessing this market because we didn't have an agreement. Today, we are using the agreement to make it easy. First, to make sure that we have mutual recognition of skills. Second, we have elimination of unnecessary barriers for those people who have an opportunity to work here. 3, it creates a seamless connection between the opportunities in Germany, that are many, and the millions of young people in Kenya that are looking for those opportunities. This agreement facilitates those who are looking for opportunities, and nobody will be forced to come to Germany. It is a volunteer. When you're looking for a job, you look for a job in a place where you are comfortable to work. The rules are there, the regulations are there, and much more importantly, there are citizens who come from Kenya, work for the companies here, and sometimes they are abused. And they are mishandled. The agreement gives us now the opportunity to make sure that we can protect the rights of Kenyans working in Germany. Making sure that they are paid in accordance with the law. We don't want Kenyans to be underpaid merely because they are of the color of their skin. They are also treated as they should, as we treat citizens of other countries. Of course, on the German side, they've also said, once somebody completes his tour, he has worked here, and in fact, before even I go there, it also gives us an opportunity to have visas for people who want to train in Germany, you know, which has always been a problem. And secondly, it also gives us an opportunity to, even when you have trained, it now gives you an opportunity for you to have industrial attachment, visa for you to stay here to do industrial attachment. I hope Rosalind, that's correct, yeah? To make sure that you have an opportunity for industrial attachment. And then it also gives you an opportunity, once you have a company that now wants to hire you, it also makes sure that you have the legal framework for you to work here with proper documentation. So that is the reason why we signed this agreement. And it is because we have millions of citizens in Kenya that can benefit from hundreds of thousands of job opportunities in Germany. It is also what we are doing with other countries. We are currently negotiating with the US. We are negotiating with Austria. We are negotiating with another 19 countries on how the single most important asset we have, our human capital, we can use it to drive our economy. As you've heard and you've said yourself, our diaspora, Kenyans working abroad, like you, Bwana Ismail, you are contributing to the economy of our country. We have $4 billion of remittance from diaspora workers like yourselves, and it is making a difference in Kenya. It is my intention to take that to $10 billion, hopefully in the next 5 years. Yes, it is possible. It's doable. So that we can use it to drive our economy. You have said that there was, just hold on. You said that there was a problem at the airport on gadgets and stuff like that. I think there was a problem. It was flagged out, and that problem was dealt with. So that we have a look at. We also need to be careful. If you're taking stuff to your family, it has to be clearly to your family. But you can't have 20 iPhones. I mean, honestly, because no, but you see, we really must, as Kenyans, we must also be responsible. You know, let's be honest. We must also be responsible. I know there are cases where sometimes it is stretched to absurd, you know, a realm of the absurd. And if you want to do business, it's good to do business. And it's good to say, okay, I'm doing this business. Then you also keep to the rules of doing business. If other people are paying duties for them to sell phones, we shouldn't have another category of people who are not paying duties and therefore take advantage of the others. So I think that is an area we need. But for clarity, if matters are for family use or your own use, there shouldn't be a problem, and we've given firm instructions in that direction. And then finally, you asked me about the last question. Yes.
Every week there's either a police or a county council or somebody from the government
Correct.
coming to arrest the ladies and drugs in the shop in the name
Of this license or that license. Yep.
but the license is there.
So I get what you're saying. So we have been working with the counties. You know, finally, we now have a working, devolved system of government. And we are encouraging county governments to look at businesses as the engines of growth in their areas, and that they shouldn't be harassing business people. We are also working with counties as a national government to assist them to harmonize the licensing regime. Some of the counties are now looking at how can they have one business permit so that you don't have to be licensed by 10 people. You don't need NEMA, and then you have this poisons board, and then you have the other one. And progressively, we also want to leverage on technology. That you see, it is easier if things are done using technology, so that somebody doesn't have to come to your shop. They just need to go and find out, this is business X, Y, and Z. Do they have the requisite permits? Are they compliant? And that should stop there. But it is work in progress.
Okay. Sure.
Let me take a lady now. Yes, madam?
Here.
Oh, yeah, there's already one with a mic.
Yes, Your Excellency, it's a pleasure and an honor to have this opportunity. My name is Natalie Schrogel. I work for a management consultancy. Natalie, yes. Natalie, yes. I work in the management consultancy sector, sitting at the intersection of digitization and systems leadership. So, and we serve the public and the private sector to close the digital divide. So, as we get ready, okay. So we're working to systems leadership, digitization to close the digital divide. So as we get ready to convene at the UNGA 79 in New York, under the Mantle Summit of the Future, how can we as the diaspora play a role, and what role can we play towards helping Kenya position itself in these goals? Because if we tie the knot around the agreement that we signed yesterday, it's a big will that we've really moved for our country. So how do we put these two moving parts together to be able to, holistically just move that needle forward? And what is the role? And I'm just going to be very careful not to speak of any diaspora, because I only know the German system. So how can we, the Germans specifically, be a part in the future declarations that we're going to make in New York? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Technology is going to play a very big part of what the future looks like. It is the reason why, as a country, we are what is being described now as the Silicon Savannah. And it's the reason why I went to San Francisco last year, to try and create a connection between the Silicon Valley technology network and what we have in Konza City. It is the reason why I have appointed Mr. Thigo, my special envoy on technology, because technology is going to influence many things in the future. It is the reason why we are digitizing government services. We had 350 government services digitized in 2022. We now have 20,000 digitized. And it is my intention that by the end of this year, every government service must be on the digital platform. So that it doesn't matter where you are, whether you are within country or even outside country, you can engage with government, and you can get access to government services. And therefore, I agree with you that as we have the Summit of the Future, in which I will be speaking, by the way, and in fact, they already asked for my views in a video which we recorded and sent. It will be a very important intersection between where we are coming from and what the future looks like. And it is the reason why we are going to Parliament, because there is now going to be another divide, the digital divide. We were left behind before. This time round, on technology, we do not want to be left behind. And it is the reason why we are discussing with Parliament how we are going to create the legal environment and the legal infrastructure to support our growth of this sector. Luckily for us, Kenya is a very tech-savvy country. And as I talk to you, our plan is to have a digital hub in every ward in Kenya. That is why we are rolling out fiber optic using Kenya Power, so that every place when Kenya Power is delivering electricity, on the same backbone, they will be delivering internet. And that contract has already been signed. It is actually works in progress. So we are thinking ahead of where we need to be, and I will be happy to share with you my thoughts and what I intend to say at the Summit of the Future in New York next week.
Thank you. Good people, I'll seek your magnanimity because we need to move His Excellency to the next appointment. We have taken questions from this side. I will come this side. We started with a gentleman and lady. We'll start with the lady here and get a gentleman. Be brief.
Thank you so much. My name is Angela Kerubo. I'm a lawyer. I came to Germany about 10 years ago. I'm excited about the labor mobility agreement because it creates opportunities for other people. I speak this because as someone who came from a legal profession, a lot is said that you cannot work as a lawyer in Germany because of the different areas of law. So anyway, what I would like to ask and challenge you, Mr. President, is by signing this agreement, I would be very offended if the people who are brought on board, and with no offense about Germans, they are our husbands, they are our children, but we want Kenyans who are in this country to be also involved or to play a part, because there are Kenyans here, there are teachers, we have teachers, we have Kenyans who are nurses. We see a lot of nurses coming into this country. These are the people who will provide the expertise, because there is also the cultural aspect. We understand the cultural issues, because we have a lot of Kenyans who come to this country, end up being depressed, and mostly men suffer mentally coming to this country because they don't understand the culture of this country. So it would be very important for diasporans who are here to help on board or to play a part in this labor agreement. The second part is we also have Kenyans here. I will take this opportunity to mention, for example, I've seen him, I wanted to mention him, Mr. Mutunge has a very good program, and this program is he's training aircraft engineers in Kenya. And to train these aircraft engineers in Kenya, he needs things like aircraft. And he has received from organizations like Lufthansa have donated to him an aircraft. But it is a very complicated process to import this, or you can't take it as a Kenyan or as an individual. The government needs to support such activities so that we can develop, because it does not only create opportunities for Kenyans who would then train and come and get jobs here, but it also creates opportunities for Kenyans who are in Kenya. Instead of learning theoretically, you go to a college in Kenya, you learn about maintaining an aircraft, but you have never seen that aircraft. You've never been near an aircraft. So thank you very much, and those are the challenges that I would like to put in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let me answer her, just because it's very important what she said. First, as a lawyer, please help read between the lines. That can also be your contribution. Look at the agreement. If there are any areas that you think we need to nuance it to make it better, work with the embassy here, and Madam Roslyn here will provide the leadership so that we can continuously improve on the agreement so that it serves us better. Number two, you have said that Kenyans who are living here should be in the equation. And I couldn't agree more. And thank you very much for offering to support your colleagues who are coming. It would be immensely useful if you can provide orientation for the people coming here because of difference in culture, because of some shocks that may arise. And the ambassador should be able to provide that mechanism for Kenyans who are already here to support your countrymen and women who are arriving, and we should find a mechanism for that to happen. And then on the third issue on Mr. Mutunge and some of the... this morning I had a very interesting conversation, by the way. There are people, Wanja here was telling us this morning that she needs left-hand drive vehicles because the driving is on the other side, but you said it was on the wrong side. It is not the wrong side. It is the right side by us, and so it depends on where you're standing from. So anyway, so we need that, some of the equipment to facilitate the training, to make sure that our labor is fit for, working in Germany. It was also said that we need some tools, again this morning. We were told that, for example, the training we have for our technical staff, plumbers and everybody, there are some tools that are different. For the British system that we have is different with the German system. So again, we will look at, these are now things that are coming out because we are having this conversation. We will then need to improve on some of those things, including what my good friend here, Mutunga, is saying, that maybe there will be need for opportunities for us to facilitate some of the training tools, whether it be aircraft, whether it be tools, whether it is cars, so that we can facilitate this export of labor to be seamless, as Kenyans will have the requisite skills. They don't have to come here and train again. So I think that's a very positive contribution, and therefore both Rosalie and the ambassador here, we need to capture some of those things so that we can now, because we now have a joint, what is that? Joint implementation committee that is going to be made of German professionals and Kenyan professionals to help us now clear some of these hurdles that we have.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I have a plan, yes. I mentioned to you about the cultural center. This is for use at various levels with the issues of mental health, etc., like what has been said here. I don't want to go into it, but I will give Pastor here the mic, and please, under 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you, Balozi. My name is Bishop Wamari, and we are here representing a large constituency of pastors who are coming from different cities in Germany. And we have, of course, one message that we'd like to extend to you and to the leadership, that as a church, are people who are seeking reconciliation and peace and prosperity of the country. We love you and we are praying for you as a mandate of the church. We have a number of concerns, but I'll mention two very fast. One, we have a number of Kenyans here. They would like to get married, but it is quite complicated for them to go back home. Is there a possibility that this can happen within our embassy? Probably there could be a legal representation and we could do that. Number two, as a church, and forgive me, I'm representing the constituency of pastors and in Germany. As a church, we need people that we would like to come and help us to work. We need pastors, ministers, professionals such as keyboardists and such a people, because we have a large constituency of churches, in this case Kenyan churches in Germany, and we need manpower. And sometimes it's quite complicated and difficult to get visas in Germany for such purpose. So we are praying if there could be any intervention where that is concerned, we'll be much grateful.
Thank you, Pastor. Rosalind, do you want to answer that? Because I think that matter he has raised on marriage around the embassy has been raised to us before in a different jurisdiction, and also the second matter.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. On the marriage thing, you'll be happy to know we already have a framework, a committee. Very soon we should be able to roll out marriage services here at the embassy in Berlin. So that is something that we are already working on. And the church staff issue has actually been raised with me just this week about, and I believe that is a category that is now covered within the agreement. So church workers, ministers, and so on should be able to immigrate under the agreement that we have just signed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe I'll take two. There is a young man there with a good hairstyle. Let's talk to him. And then one of the ladies here with a very nice dress.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. My name is Benson Kuria. As you can see, I'm a youth. I'm a beneficiary of the voluntary service. I came through Sally Klauswald. She's one of the Kenyans who are sensitizing Kenyans online on ways to migrate to Germany, physically, not online. And I came here, I did my FSJ, and now I'm doing my Ausbildung. But Mr. President, I would say we are going through a lot of challenges as youth. I hope we have some youth here. Coming here, it's difficult. As you said, you are having partnership with the German government, but the academic credentials, as you said, Mr. President, they are very different than our school system. My first question is, what are the conversations that you're having to make our school system kind of the same with the German system? So when we are translating our documents, our Anerkennung, our work credentials, that they are accredited here, that we are given the same chances as the Germans who are here. Because you are starting from scratch. As they said, you are going through a lot of stress as men. We've studied back in Kenya, we have our degrees, you come here, you're told you have to start again. And on my second question, I will say thank you so much, Mr. President. As you said, you're weeding out some of the problems that have been there, and thank you so much for appointing our new ambassador. We have been given a chance, which we never had in the previous leadership. We'll say we have to be honest, that we are here and we are able to address our issues. And we are asking as the youth, can you incorporate us here in Germany, for example, as immigrants, that we have accessibility to the labor department. Yeah, when we want to work, we have our credentials be signed. Yeah, education system also. We are not given the chance to get close so our issues can be heard. What are you doing about that also here in Germany as you work in Kenya? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, I had a meeting this morning with the labor agents, and actually those two issues came up, that some of the Kenyans who come here, you have qualified, but when you come here, you are told you're taken back a year. And you're told, go back to school and do this. And it is because we didn't have a framework. Now we do. And in fact, one of the issues that actually two issues I raised with the German Chancellor was, how do we have mutual recognition of skills? And it is provided for under this agreement. We will now work on how does a plumber in Kenya, an engineer in Kenya, a nurse in Kenya, how do we make sure that they have the same qualification? So that when you come from Kenya as a nurse, it is already recognized that if you are licensed as a nurse in Kenya, it is the same licensing that can get you into the German space. So those are the Chancellor, by the way, told me that they are also having problems on their side. They have like 230 institutions that license different categories, and they are also trying to see how to harmonize. So it's not only a challenge on our side, but it's also a challenge on the German side. But you know, this agreement now creates the ecosystem for us to sort out these challenges. In the past, there was no framework. Now we have a joint committee of officials, high-level officials from Germany and high-level officials from Kenya to look at some of the issues that you have raised. You have said, Mr. Kuria, that you want to be involved. You know, you want to be. The other issue was education. How do we also facilitate continuous training, making sure that you can improve on your skills, you can enhance your skills? And one of the organizations that we met this morning was actually saying they are going to provide that opportunity. They already have offices in India because there is a big market. Talent Orange. There is a group called Talent Orange and others. So I think now that we are having this conversation, it will become much more easy because we are now organized. And hopefully we can be able to support you better. Yes, Madam, you have something to say?
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you. So my name is Dr. Rahab Njeri from the University of Cologne. I am a historian, community and scholar activist, and I sit currently in a position that has never been in the history of Germany in a university. So I am the first, as people would like to say, one of the first, and I cannot be one of the first if it's not because of the work of the community, our Kenyan communities, especially the women who have done a lot. So one of my mothers is there. So I always say my doctor title belongs to our community, and I come from Cologne, from Cologne. So I am bringing questions from my generation because I think I came here as a very young girl. I've gone here to school, I've studied here, I've taught here, and I work at the administration in a German university. So one of the questions is, especially when it comes to the diaspora, the voices of the diaspora, the young diasporans living here, and I think that this has also been mentioned. We understand the language, we know the system. How are they going to get involved? Because sometimes we have a feeling it's a couple of people who are involved in the diaspora talks, but not everyone from the diaspora, not everybody who is a Kenyan gets involved in these talks. So how are we going to deconstruct those power hierarchies that are actually there, making sure the older generation, for instance, are not involved in these talks? So that's one of my questions. How is that going to be implemented in the diaspora desk or even in the diaspora engagement? And the other one is in concern of labor mobility, and these are questions that I'm bringing from NRV. So one of the questions that has been asked a lot is, how is Kenya and the German government going to build sustainable structures for our brothers and sisters coming to work in this country? What is the Kenyan government going to do? And what is the German government doing about it? And how is that going to be implemented? And most importantly, who are the people doing the implementation? So those were my two questions.
Thank you very much, Jerry. You have raised concern about involvement. I think this is something that had come up earlier. Involvement of young people, involvement of people who are coming into Germany now. I'm told that there is a small problem between the diaspora organization, but this is purely a diaspora people's challenge here. You need to sit down amongst yourselves and sort yourselves out. I mean, honestly, you know, we would, you know, if we came as government and imposed on you people, it would be wrong. I mean, you people need to sit down, you know, and organize yourselves. And I want to ask the ambassador here, please, if they need a forum, if they need a place, provide a place for these good people to sit down and organize themselves. It would be very good if we have the people who said they have been here before and they will help in understanding to be part of it. It is good for the people who have come recently to be part of it, so that we have an experience from an all-round experience. I think you said we should expel the older ones. So, as we involve the younger, we should also keep the older ones there, so that we have a buffet of ideas and experiences. And so I would really encourage you, and Jerry, and all the other good people here, please, you know, help us organize yourselves. That way we can support you better. And you can have a channel that you can channel some of the issues to us. Let me also ask Madam Jogu, you have said a very powerful point as to, yes, we have an agreement in place. And I want to persuade you guys, you know, sometimes we think that it is the Germans who have an interest in this agreement. It is not the Germans alone. We also have an interest. I mean, we are concerned that we have millions of young people coming out of college with skills, with competencies, but we do not have enough jobs at the moment in our country. Should we deny them the opportunity to come and work in Germany? I don't think so. And that is the reason why we took the bold step that, okay, we have a youth bulge. We have a labor market in Germany. What does government do? You proactively engage with the labor market so that you provide a mechanism that is win-win, that secures opportunities, but also protects Kenyans from being exploited. And that is what we have provided in this agreement. And I cannot say it is 100% perfect. Maybe there are areas we can improve. And that is why I asked my sister there, as a lawyer in this country, to look at the agreement. If there are areas we can make it better, let's do. We are open to participation, you know, and I hope when you sit down with your colleagues, you will be able to give us feedback, you know, so that we can improve on it. Maybe, Madam Jogu, in this implementation committee, are people in diaspora involved? So maybe that is what they are saying, but maybe now through the embassy, we should be able to create a mechanism where people in the diaspora can be part of the implementation, so that they can, and if you can get a representative or two to be part of the implementation program, at least from the Kenyan side, it would be an important addition. Ambassador, are we able to do that?
Yes, Your Excellency. constituting a delegation from the Kenyan side is a sovereign, decision.
So we
and you can choose from university, you can choose from where your skills are located.
Correct.
So that is for us.
So it is our responsibility to constitute our delegation.
Exactly.
So, and we are saying, let us involve.
So we get somebody like from a university or from an organization, we call them advisor. If they are not like already within the government, they will be advisor forming part of the team from government.
Great. I know many of you have questions, but I have a flight to catch, and I have 2 meetings in between. And because I have a job to do in Kenya. Yeah? So I wish I could stay here a day longer, but it is not possible because I have an engagement Sunday, Monday going, and we are also preparing for the UN General Assembly, but I have some stuff to do back at home. But I think the next time I come, we do it in, if we had maybe found time yesterday, would have taken longer so that we can engage better and we can listen to one another better. But let me conclude by saying, my sister,
Thank you. Asante sana, Your Excellency. Protocol observed. Kwanza kabisa nataka congratulate Ms. Roslyn Jogo. I just want to say, after us getting that office, the Diaspora State Department of Diaspora Affairs, you guys understand your homework. Thank you very much to that. And to the recruiters who are here, recruiters who are here, when you're sending our brothers and sisters from home, please, the political climate right now is very harsh. Zungumza na sisi hapa diasporans. Tuwaeleze where you can send people. There are areas that ingozi yetu haiwezi kanyaga. But we have our brothers and sisters working in these areas. Let us work on that. That is something that really has to be looked into. And also I want to commend our Deputy Balozi. That is Balozi Valerie, who has also been fighting on the social protection of those who are coming. Your Excellency, sisi hapa kama diasporans, saa zingine tukimbiangi embassy because tunasema uko hatuna hiyo social protection. But Ms. Njogu alituhakikishia kwa meeting na tukasema asante. And I heard her say at the meeting of the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, where we were discussing mambo ya labor migration with the Joachim Stamm, and ulisimama ukasema ukatuhakikishia all those who will be coming here. So please help this office to offer us that. Kwa majina naitwa Jacqueline Kuhn. I'm the founder of Kenyan Women in Germany. Mimi kazi yangu hapa na wenzetu hapa hivi to help in integration. Na all the diasporan leaders, by signing this treaty, ndio sahi kazi imeanza. Haikuwa imeanza, ndio imeanza. Tushikane mikono na tushike hao wanaokuja. Asante.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. You know how rare it is to get a compliment from... So, Madam Jogu, congratulations that you're doing it. And when I made the decision that we're going to have a State Department for Diaspora Affairs, I was very clear that there is a big constituency out there that need to be served by the government of Kenya. I'm very happy that we have made huge progress. And Madam Roslyn and her team at the State Department of Diaspora Affairs, they have been on the ball. And the job is not yet done, but it's work in progress. And I want to ask all of you, let us support the State Department so that they can serve all of us better. To you good people, asanteni sana kwa kutupokea hapa Germany.